It gives me great pleasure to welcome all participants and speakers at the Arise, the tourism conference. Regrettably, due to other commitments, I shall not be able to join you in person as I would have loved to, but I still would like to share with you a number of key developments at the European Union level that I believe are very relevant to the tourism sector. Over the past weeks, we have had a new draft law dealing with relations between platforms and business sector. This has been proposed by the European Commission, and it has been my privilege to be entrusted as rapporteur for the Committee on Legal Affairs precisely to scrutinize this legislation. I met a number of stakeholders, and I did that to obtain your views and to know how to proceed with regard to this legislation. My meetings with the representatives of the hospitality sector in Malta, in particular also through the Malta Business Bureau, together with whom I organized a stakeholders meeting, as well as my meeting with Hotrec, even here in Brussels, with whom you are very familiar, has certainly helped me a great deal to formulate my own position. We know that this is legislation that is very extensive, so allow me to share with you three main points that you have yourselves raised with me. The first point regards the question that intermediation services, the platforms, very often work also with additional distribution channels of affiliate programs. We would like now to emphasize that transparency requires that business users should know about the additional distribution channels. They should be informed, and we are also making it a point in the legislation that the business users will not only be informed about the additional distribution channels, but they will also have the right to say, well, we do not want the addition of one channel or another. And that, to me, is fundamental, and we have incorporated that in the proposed legislation. But then, of course, there has been a very much more important matter that you have actually raised with me. And I am referring to the whole question of access to data. Because you use platforms to market your hotels, to market your restaurants, to market different tourism outlets. And in the process, data is being generated by the intermediaries. This is data which relates to your business, and this is data that I believe you should have full access to. Now, of course, we need to protect personal data and privacy in terms of European Union law, but that data that will be gathered as a result of your own business being part of the services offered on the platform will now be made available to each respective business user. But I think we will also go further. And we will go further by telling the providers of the online search engines to provide the data to you in a way that you can make use of it immediately. And by that I mean that they will make it available to you in machine-readable, commonly used and standardized format. This is a reflection of what you have helped me to achieve through your input. I am glad to say that after many meetings, many compromises that we have managed to develop, and as a result we now have a text which secures the interests of the various stakeholders, not least within the hospitality sector. I am also proud of the fact that the report that I have been working on was adopted with unanimous support. That means that we have received support from all the political groups. This is not the end of the story. We are now in the phase of further negotiations to have the final position of the European Parliament. And that is why your feedback remains very important to me. We are expecting a vote in plenary in December, probably around mid-December, and assuming That will mean we will have a mandate to enter into discussions with the Commission and with the Council of what we refer to as the trialogue process, so even then your input will remain important. I conclude by stating that the tourism sector is very close to my heart. I have had the privilege to work very closely with most of you when I served as Minister for Tourism, and perhaps one can say, once a Minister for Tourism, you certainly remain very close to that sector. I would like to avail myself of this opportunity to encourage you to keep contact with me, to share with me your views on existing challenges, as well as about your aspirations about how the European Union can further support the tourism sector, which is so crucial for our country, for Malta. And in that way, you are also helping me to be your voice within the European Parliament.